Wawanui family, welcome to House of HUNA TV. We welcome you all during this sharing of a lot of work that we recently did. And most importantly, right, it's one of the first sharings since um, our elder transitioned back into the formless. So it is with that a high honor to be here in front of all of you and to with the others in remembrance and in honor to our elder. We open up this live. Mauta, we thank you for all of your guidance and direction from inside the formless and outside, always in the many forms. And we come here today to not just speak of our sharing, but to show others of our sharing, to show you that we will never let you down and that we will continue on with our part of the guarantee as you have. And with that, gratitude to you all for showing up. And I now invite group, the groups of Hunas that came to assist me in this journey. They can all come in. Hey, family.
Hi.
So I had the wonderful pleasure of actually embarking on one of the most amazing adventures slash journeys with these individuals and more. But today we're going to start with us, with our part. Shortly after Mauta had passed, we were all receiving, I was receiving messages and I was already working on a particular area that was brought to my attention. And it, because Maut had passed, we had to put the entire, we all made the decision that it was best to put this, to a pause until the alignments would cut for us to revisit it. And so that alignment came before first light, before the new year. And in the month of May, I started to receive a lot of messages regarding the unity and the need to call back all the mothers. In fact, I was told to focus on being a mother myself, and it wasn't until the end of May that then it was revealed and presented that the next steps that I would have to do was fly across seas to a specific area, to my hometown, and also make amends with my mother, whom I haven't seen for 2 years. And so that's where the medicines began, of the unity of the mothers and the daughters and the grandmothers, because it became more so apparent that this was all lining up to the return of the first child of light. And so, who needs the mothers and the fathers, right? And we are all the children of first light. So it was such a beautiful ceremony. Everything, we had no planning on what we were going to do other than trusting in our knowing, in the nine, as our elder would encourage us to do, and also incorporating the tools of the dragon masters, and as well as other indigenous medicines that were required by the ancestors. We managed to get the work done, and we enjoyed the doing. So without further ado, we're going to play a small clip to that ceremony, which I had the pleasure of completing with Noni Kai, who weaved in her medicines as well. And we'll talk a little bit about that ceremony once we finish viewing a little bit of it.
All right, give me 1 minute. I'm trying to get it back on the screen.
Sure. Here we had to actually look for the manipulation codes, and we were doing work in the formless, and I was actually utilizing the medicines of the deer to locate and dig out the manipulation codes.
There we go.
This was such a very interesting time in this
Yeah,
particular part.
Noni didn't even know what I was doing. She had to also shift into her knowing. She's not, as you see, at that point when you see the light coming in, I was also sewing in light codes. I was doing what I was told to do. And as you can see, my face in that moment isn't really, I'm not there. I'm completely working from a different space. And now I shift into the medicines of the hawk who flew right behind me.
Mhm.
Here I start sewing the codes, Mahakawatahi Tawakahama, and I take a rock and I start smashing the ground with the rock. And as you see, Noni, she's kind of following my lead and going with the flow. And so what we were doing was we were cracking that area of any blueprints of division, separation within the feminine, the divine feminine. And those codes were sold right there.
One of the beautiful things about this happening prior to is that we both actually came back to our home and recognized that we were doing the 3D work in our homes with our own families, connecting them first. And then ultimately it led us to doing this work, which I thought was very special.
Yes. And it also required, it's a long video, so I invite you all at home to actually, if you can go on Mai's or Noni's YouTube page, the full video is there in the ceremony. And you will see it required us to both humble each other. Like we had to humble ourselves to one another.
Yes.
So I had to humble myself to her and recognize and address her as my mother, my grandmother, my daughter. And once I did, and it came strictly from my heart, and it opened up my heart space, all the codes started to come in, the edit codes that were required for that moment. And what was most beautiful about that moment is that Noni herself in return humbled herself to me. And I didn't expect that. We didn't plan that. Everything came from the heart. And so she kneels down and humbles herself to me. And so it was at that moment that we united together and saw each other as one and embraced each other and loved one another. And so those were the medicines that we were actually sowing into the reality, into that moment, into the building of, you know, through the electromagnetic frequency and vibration of the field, but also through our emotions, our intentions, So it was very powerful because we even had you know, as Noni mentioned, I came back home. Uh, for me, I have two homes. I have my ancestral home here in Borinquen, which is also referred to as Puerto Rico, but also I was born on the Honomotu in Massachusetts. And so that's still home also for me, And I was telling Noni, it's like, wow, I came back home. I didn't realize that this was also home. I was trying to run away from it, and this is home, and it brought so much memories for both of us. So then at the same time, we were both being joyful, and we were the children of light at the same time throughout all of these uh, missions and ceremonies. We had to maintain the balance of being the child of first light for sure, but the mother, the father, everything. But most importantly, being the child of first light. So it was such a beautiful sharing. Noni, do you want to talk about what how you felt, or is there anything that you wanted to input on that actual experience? Because I just flew in and just dropped the ball on her, like, hey, I'm on my way to you. I need your address. They're telling me I have to go over there.
Right.
Just
Well, it was most, and that was the most, the way that everything happened was just, it was very divine, all in alignment. And this was my initiation to, you know, further my pursuit. So the fact that it came the way that it did, and it's expressed in the video when you guys watch it, I do hope that you watch it. But I just wanted to say that this was extremely powerful for many reasons, mainly because of what was happening, like I mentioned, what was happening already. So it was, we were setting the stage prior to the actual work. We were doing the work. And I had no previous, knowing about how you did ceremony or what to expect. And I think because you and I are so in alignment with each other anyways, it
yeah.
was so easy to do. I you know we were speaking without speaking, which we normally do all the time. But it was beautiful to see us actually transform into the formless and really realize that. I don't want to get anything away. I'm not sure how much of the video you're sharing, but all things
No,
came
give it.
together. Huh?
Oh, go by all means, give it away, because they
Oh,
could always go back and watch. But it's
yeah. It was just the alignment with, even just, first by finding my toku toku, I was gifted initially, and then, by making, I was actually calling out to, you know, to open the portal, and I didn't know that the words that I was using at the time were what was needed, because I say it all the time, just in, in the knowing, which I thought was so wonderful. And the one thing I love about you is that you have the information to translate what it is that I've been doing to make it make sense for me. Even I just go with my intuition, what I'm feeling. So all of what happened, and even being able to, as a, for those who don't know me, I am a medium, and I heard the ancestors even said at that moment, when the light meets the dark is when the ascension comes. And there was a moment in the video where we both looked at this. It was, guys, I promise you, it was an A in the tree. And I looked over and I was like, oh my gosh, that's ascension. And you said the same thing. We had the moment we looked at the same time. And to me, that just for some reason put me in my child's place, because I'm like, oh my gosh, we're really playing here. We get to, play with all the elements the way that we instinctually know how to, and being divinely guided. And that location is very special to me. It's one of my favorite places because, I grew up in this particular area, but I knew that it had sacred space because I always went there, was always gravitated to this one space. So so many wonderful things to come of that. But knowing that after we had done the ceremony and to see the light come through, it was, I think you said, oh my goodness, you see how the light comes through. And I'm like, yes, because after the dark,
yeah.
once
When the
it's,
light meets the dark, hits
yeah,
the dark.
right.
It
So
shall be.
it shall be undone, right? Um,
Mhm.
I'm just forever grateful for the moment because I think that is important for knowing the energy of what's happening globally and how, the matriarch needs to be empowered in a way that has kind of been stripped away. It's just such a beautiful thing to be able to do that with you and to pull that in together. So
Thank
I
you.
honor you highly and I appreciate that you allowed us to do the work. It was just such a beautiful thing. So I hope you all go check it out.
I wish it was me allowing you guys to do the work, but it was just divine timing because we didn't plan anything.
Not one thing.
It was all based on the messages that were coming in and looking at the confirmation to match that
Yeah.
we were on track and so I had no idea, not even with I did kind of have an idea with Tarakuya because they told me immediately from the beginning that she would have to be a part of it, but with the pillar building. But everything else, I didn't know how she was going to do it. We didn't know how any of this was going to unfold, but to trust in it.
That's right.
But it was beautiful and needless to say, after we did that specific ceremony, I flew back the following morning and back to Puerto Rico. And within a couple of days, I received the next unfolding of what I needed to do next. And that was to finally address this dark portal. And before doing so, I had to go to all of the areas that was connected to this dark tunnel and crack. I had to crack all the other sites, basically stabilize that location before finally moving in at the end. And we can go on to the next, which is the Orion, undoing the distortions of the Orion Wars. And so that was what they led me to do next, which is so in alignment with what was going on globally with the energies of the W word that we speak to as Wa now. But it's like Orion, we have star families from everywhere, and I have worked with my star family from Orion for quite some time. So it was like they were now leading me up to this moment of what they have been preparing me for. And a big theme that kept coming up was the belt of Orion or the three somehow, right? And when I received this message, I was given the areas of where I needed to go, right? The sites where I needed to go to crack the blueprints to what it was the Zeta, it was a beings of Zetas that were occupying that area, and I had to go crack the blueprints. Now, as I'm doing this sharing, I'm sharing because there's another Huna here that's not able to make it today. Huna Makahure. He's also him and Mahopaku are the main two that do the recon work. I give them the information that comes to me, and they assist with the recon and getting the confirmations and the alignments all together and the unfoldings. So he immediately after I gave him those the three areas that came to me, he went and mapped it out and immediately caught a triangle. So if we can bring in that next one, the next image, and here's the mapping of the next one. As you can see, the triangle is where the dark tunnel was located on the mainland, and this is where I had to go to start the undoing of the Orion Wars. And so the first area that I went to was La Palguera in Lajas. That's by the coast. You see 304 by the coast. And then from there, I had to work my way counterclockwise and hit up 303. Yes. And I had to go to Laguna Cartagena, and extraterrestrial highway. So I did go to those areas and perform the crackings that I was told to perform. And upon finishing, we actually, I actually found that upon entering this area, I actually came across a UFO, which was for some reason, it's not clicking play. Or can we go on to the next image? It goes, CSU doing it. Okay, go back a little bit to the next one. Okay. So a giant revealed itself when I went to the cracking, to the area to do the cracking. So what was happening was that they were harvesting the energies of the giants to generate their reality or their matrix, their personal matrix, which was required in order for them to survive, so to speak, because of the choices that they had made of cutting themselves out, from source consciousness, which still came from a place of innocence. And so, as I was undoing the distortions of the Orion Wars, there was also, some clarity that was being brought, and so, they let me know that, for one, there's no more war, that there is no warring. So now because they already chose to come back into source light, and they already chose unity. And so what we're doing here on earth now is we're aligning that parallel reality by showing up in the physical, but it's already done, and so we're just undoing those structures that no longer serve, so to speak, and resetting, because a lot of these things are done near portals, resetting the portals and the grid system, so on and so forth. So when this giant was revealed to me, immediately I said, ha, this must be the mother giant that I have to bring the crystal to, because that was the message that was being given to me. That's why I had to go and do the ceremony to call on all the mothers, and we had to open up the heart space and humble ourselves to each other. That was the precursor to this. If so, I had to do that in order for this to unfold, and pretty much that was the theme of all of the missions, really. But once that happened, I kept an eye and was looking for the confirmations. We can go to the next one. And there goes the confirmation. So not that long after I left that site at Laguna Cartagena, after doing the cracking and finding that giant, I left, and about 2 miles away from the giant, I came across this extraterrestrial highway, which had a lot of portal activity, dark tunnel activity that I had to undo here. But there were the codes Tahiti, and I immediately reached out to Kahasahi, and I'm like, holy crap, I found it. This is the confirmation. Because, as you guys know, if you ever watched Moana, the first one, where she had to put the heart of Tafiti, she had to give it back to Tafiti. And so here was Tahiti and the giant near, right, 2 miles away. And I'm like, boom, we found her. So I had the confirmations. As you can see, there's a cute little Zeta up there on the top that they have to actually promote this highway. And next, I will be showing an actual clip of a UFO that I captured during this actual mission. And you can, before we do that, here's the confirmation of the cracking that I did prior to this. Yes, as you can see, that is a giant in the cloud family. That is a giant in the cloud. Those are confirmation clouds, as we like to call them. And so after I had done the cracking in Laguna Cartagena, this was the cloud that I captured on my way back home. on my way back home. So it was a nice, pleasant confirmation. And now, we're jumping in and out. And now the next clip is the clip of the UFO that I actually captured while undoing this dark tunnel mission. As you can see, it's gonna disappear and reappear. It was more metallic like. It's not the light starships. These ships are mostly the metallic ones are mostly the Zeta ones. You see how it kind of disappeared and then reappears. So they were showing themselves to me because I was also listening, hearing in with them. I can basically tune into the field and hear everything, right? From the Council of Light, from here, from there. And so they're letting me know, yes, this is the way. This is the way to go right here. You're on the right path. Okay. So now we get to the giant petrified snake. And I know I'm moving along pretty fast here, family, which I just want to take the moment to say, how are you guys all doing? Are you guys all well in the chats? Like, let me make sure everyone is still hanging on to their seats. I just give everybody a moment to actually take a breather. But basically, what goes on is I hear the messages and they come to me. They come within my field, and I'll get the exact locations of where I need to go. And that's where I usually go and do my recon and the investigations and the confirmations before I actually go into the field. In fact, this particular mission that we are reporting, it was 6 months in the work, 6 to 7 months in the work actually. And we will be reporting all of that journey after this series, and we'll fill in the blanks there. But nonetheless, thank you for staying with me here.
I remember not having, I couldn't tell you about the Moana too because
Yeah,
of this
I wouldn't
particular
accept it.
journey.
Correct. So everybody was telling me you have to watch Moana too. And I said
Mhm.
absolutely not, because I don't want it to interfere with the work that I'm doing. And it is 15:15 on the clock when we said that. So I didn't want any interference. I wanted to make sure that this was strictly, from the divine and directed, the divine directive. So after I closed that dark tunnel, after completing that mission of closing the dark tunnel, I was given information that I needed to now go back to the petrified giant snake that we discovered back in December, Huna Makahure and I, and that I had to then go do a cracking there because there were some blueprints that was being held over there, and they shared that with me. So I went back, and I'm going to show a clip of the giant petrified snake that I found at the coast, at the northern coast. You can press play on that. And that's Huna Makahure in the background talking, if you hear him. That's part of the giant snake that is on the coast now. And it has patterns and everything, just like a snake. And then the other part submerges back inside of the water. And what you see sticking out is the actual head. So when I want to share an experience that I had with, I couldn't record the actual cracking of the giant snake because it was in the water, right? And there was a few things that I had to do, and I couldn't take, and I did this all by myself. So once that was completed, I had the pleasure and highest honor ever of interacting with the water tribe. When I say water tribe, I mean by those who live in the water. And so upon me cracking the blueprint to that, it lifted something. It lifted something to where they were now able to to be in that area that they didn't have access, that was being restricted to them. And we received the confirmation to that work, but I'm gonna not jump too far in the gun. But it was such an amazing experience to have this interaction with these wonderful beings who are also beings of light. And they acknowledged me. They acknowledged the work that I was doing, and they thanked me for the work that I was doing. And they let me know that they were going to be there with me during the dark tunnel mission, and that, they were going to be also cleaning the waters and doing their part, including this giant snake who in the formless, in the quantum, is very much still alive and doing what it needs to do. And so I had that interaction personally. And the following day, I had a client fly out to come see me for an ascension ceremony for the week. And she flew in from Kentucky. I brought her and I did ceremony here. Actually, I brought her here to do ceremony because that's where I was told to. And they actually revealed themselves in front of her as well. So it was something that definitely is for the books. Um, I had to earn, I had to earn myself for them to really reveal themselves to me. I had to put in a lot of work. I was doing work on this island for 2 years since I came, and a lot of cleaning up of the beaches, a lot of everything. And so it was truly an honor. And later on, actually, they even gifted me with a toku toku. And at the very end, when I go to, I'm not going to jump the gun. Let's just stick to this. Okay. So after I released the giant snake, it was time to go to Vieques. And that's where the dark portal was located. But before that, I had to go put the heart of the mother. I had to go back and do the cracking on the giant and put the heart of the mother back in. And so I did do that. And there's a confirmation cloud that Tamake could play next, and which is also a giant. It's another confirmation cloud, the form of a giant. And there you have it. That was a big one. That mission took a lot of work. It took a lot of hiking. It took a lot. It was a lot of work to get to where I actually needed to get to. And it was beautiful to get this confirmation cloud that it was done as a check. And as soon as I was able to finish that, I was allowed to go and sail across seas to an off island called Vieques. And it's still part of the island of Puerto Rico. It's part of Puerto Rico territory. It's just one of the off islands. And that's where the other dark tunnel was located, and the one that we call the Devil's Door. And so we can actually go in and show a clip of that. Okay. So these three images that you see, the first image is the image of an actual giant that they were harvesting for this dark tunnel. Not only was it a giant that they were harvesting on this, for a dark tunnel, but it was also attached to the mother's womb. It was attached to the land, to Earth Mother. So we had to do a cleansing of the womb, so to speak, which was confirming already the work that, like, the information that we were receiving, not just through the ceremony that I did prior in Massachusetts with Noni, of calling the mothers back, of the healing of the mother and the healing of the womb, but during those moments of first sight, there was a lot of speaking of the Kopanui, right, the womb belly. Everything, this appeared in December, 6 months prior. It had to happen during the Kopa Nui, the womb belly, that alignment with first light touching the womb belly for us to get this work done.
I also, while this was happening, right after you left me, I was told to do a womb ceremony at the water the following week, which I thought I was told I had three ceremonies to do, which is really interesting. Um, the timing of it all, because I had no idea. But that was
Right, right. Yeah, no, none of it was planned actually. So it was pretty interesting. During this time when these things first presented themselves to me, it presented itself back in December after doing a major cracking ceremony over there as well in Makahure. And we'll report that in Tears of the Dragon Part 2. But this, what you see, it took a lot of recon work. Like we really like I was told exactly where it was. The Council of Light themselves came to me and told me exactly where to find it. And I followed their instructions to the T and opened up the Google Maps and it was there. And as you can see, it was planted at a beach called Playa Cristo. See? So they know how to manipulate the energy because they had to in order, again, for them to create their matrix. And so that has been undone. You know, you see the door of the fire, it looks like an actual door, even, and it's called
Mhm.
Puerto Diablo, the devil's port, the devil's portal. This was one of the darkest missions I've ever been on, even energetically speaking. The recording of this ceremony, as well as the others, you can find on my YouTube page at Huna Mawarika on YouTube. You'll see, and you could even hear the popping in certain areas of the dark energy, the popping from the land, and also the anchoring of the light, the reset. In this area, we were actually, I went in and completed this with my partner, who's a shaman, and we actually were exposed to radiation. We were actually exposed. When I tell you that this was one of the darkest missions that I had to go on, they used to test bombs here. The U.S. military would test bombs here in this location, and still to this day, there are live bombs, active landmines. So when we entered this location, there were signs that said, do not exit your car. You can't get out of your car, unsafe grounds, yada, yada, yada. And we had to do it. We had to get out of the car and go to the field, and really close this devil's portal, this devil's door once and for all, because all of this is connected. It's connected to the grid. And so we had to, it actually required a parallel missions with the sealed group of Hunas that were in the UK exactly during the moment that I was here. And my intention was solely to go close this devil's portal that was presented to me in December and nothing else. And when we finished, and I incorporated the tools and the undoing codes, the Waikara from the Dragon Masters that Mauta taught us. I incorporated that as well as our indigenous medicines because that was required as well. It required the highest frequency of light. It required me and my partner to be at the highest, at a high frequency of love, even. The medicines of love had to be at the highest and the most purest. And that's what got us through this mission. We were covered the entire time, as we knew that we would be. And we give thanks to all the Hunas that logged in collectively because everything was felt. It required that. This mission required the logins, even the extra logins from the House of Huna. those in world bridgers, those not in world bridgers that were still logging in, people that were non-Hunas that were logging in and doing the work, because we are all Huna, as Kahasahis mentioned, at the end of the day in this form. And so that was a medicine of unity and support, community, gathering, all in itself, that we were sowing into this mission collectively. And it required that, you know? So upon us completing this, and we actually got the confirmation of an actual the devil. It looked like the devil was being released in the cloud, and we'll play that clip right now. Oh, I jumped again. So we could still keep it here. This was me arriving to Vieques because as I explained, I had to travel by boat to this off land. That's me yawning because I traveled overnight, midnight, and arrived there at 4. Beautiful, colorful town, barrio. The folks that I was working with and where I was tenting at, camping out at. I camped out during this mission. And upon us closing that devil's portal, I think I may even have a clip of that. You can press play.
I'm gonna pull up a different one because there's a square on that. You won't be able to see it.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
No
Pardon
problem.
me. Just pivot like a tuatara.
Hi, everybody in the chats.
You know what else I thought was really interesting? As this you were explaining to me about all of your the missions and the things that you were happening, I looked at my because of the deer drawing that you had, that confirmed the work that we were doing, which is also in the recording. I started looking at through my own pictures, and I remember my mother saying about this one painting that I created, and she was like, "Hey, do you still have this painting?" I was like, "Of course I do." When I looked at it, it literally looked like that that devil's face, the whole thing, and then I had the ancestors on the next, and at the same time, everyone was reporting this red sky,
Yeah,
and I was like, "Oh my goodness, this is." I painted this like almost 10 years ago.
years ago.
It's crazy.
Yeah, and I painted that deer. I painted the
Yes.
deer 5 years prior to completing the mission, and
Mhm.
that same deer comes out after we completed that ceremony, and a blackbird, lands on the back of the deer, which I also had on the painting as numbers. So the confirmations were out of this world phenomenal,
Yeah.
because we then discovered that in that painting of the deer and this and that was also that giant's head in the sea, was also the
Mhm.
all kinds of other things, the dragon
Yeah.
tarakuya that you shared with me yesterday is actually in the painting. And so like the liver is actually the eye,
Mhm.
of the dragon. And I'll have to link up with you afterwards for that. But I think we have it coming back now. Wonderful. So here is us doing the dark portal, closing the dark portal. You'll notice the anchoring of light as it flashes down as I'm anchoring the codes, and the undoing codes used in the Dragon Master's modality and the White Kata, as well as edit codes that are given to me at the end, which is part of my Huna essence. And it was really heavy. Like the energy here, the atmosphere was really, really heavy and dense, family. I mean, this mission took a lot of recovering, which is it's insane though, because the recovery was, you still got work to do. So here's the devil. As you can see, it looks like a cloud. You could even see horns on the top of what appears to be a devil. And that was upon closing the devil's portal, the devil's door. So that was a wonderful confirmation that it was done, that it was guaranteed. After I completed this mission, I'm thinking it's time to go back home. Another area was revealed to me. One that blew me away, one that I was not expecting. But on our way to Vieques, what I didn't mention was that my partner had said, while we're over there, there's a location that I would like to take you to. One that has many stones. I don't know why, but I feel like you should go there. But when we land, we did this, we did that, and completely forgot. The following day, after closing the devil's door, the woman that you saw in the picture prior, whose home we were staying at, I was camping in her yard. I'm having coffee with her in the rising, and she tells me, there's this area you ought to know about. Now that I see the type of work that you're doing, I feel like it's somewhere where you should go and do a cleansing at. I've been there before. It's very sacred and it has a lot of stones, but there's an energy there. I don't know how to explain it. It's beautiful, but at the same time, it just feels like you should go there. And I said, okay, tell me, what is it, And she tells me that they call it Stonehenge Vieques. And at that point, I heard the Twilight Zone theme song playing in the back, because the House of HUNA, that we have the SEAL team in the UK Stonehenge at that moment, not the day prior, no, just at that moment when she's telling me this. And all I hear is, and I'm like, no effing way. I go show my partner and I'm like, hey, you're never going to believe this. Remember I told you there's a group of Hunas that are in Stonehenge, UK doing this work, and we're doing parallel work? Well, Susie just shared with me another location she felt I should go to, and it's Stonehenge Vieques. It's called Stonehenge Vieques. And he was like, well, yeah, that's the location I was going to tell you about. That's the one I was telling you I couldn't remember the name of, but I felt that you should go to it. And I'm like, oh my effing goodness. Like, you guys don't stop. You guys don't stop. So at that point, I actually text Kahasahi. And I'm like, it gets juicier. Literally text her. I said, it gets juicier. You're not going to believe this, but I was just shown another location that I have to go to, and it's called Stonehenge Vieques. And at that point, it was like, okay, hands down, we already knew that we were doing some parallel work. We already knew, because there was so many confirmations. We were also going there with the intentions of returning the waters, unifying the southern and the northern waters. But this was something different. This was another Stonehenge, and they're in Stonehenge, and there was dark portal work. And she told me, I remember her, me telling her, hey, I just finished doing the devil's portal, closing it. They told me I had to do that first. She was like, well, we were just in hell. So I'm like, okay, so technically, hands down, we are in parallel realities working something here. And it actually spoke to the oracle, the Blackbird oracle, prior to the one that was just released. So where the geometries, the geometries of first light was showing that there was somehow going to be a parallel between Gregorian and Lemurian. So nonetheless, I knew what time it was. It was time to go find Stonehenge Vieques. And that day we dedicated it to giving back and doing an act of service in return for the wonderful lady who and wonderful friend slash sister who allowed us to stay at her house. And The next rising, we went and did the mission at Stonehenge Vieques. So now we can show a footage of that. I'm going to show you a few clips. Again, family, if you want to see the full ceremonies and stuff, you can go on my page and look it up. But this is Stonehenge Vieques, located in Vieques, Puerto Rico. And the intentions here was to undo any energies that was not serving anymore, but also to return the child of first light, the return of the child of first light. There was a lot of synchronizations here. That is a key that I use, which is, walks with me through dark spaces whenever I'm doing dark tunnel work. Given to me by a wonderful, wonderful indigenous brother, Guaseri Canari, who does wonderful medicines, their medicines. And this here was a guardian that I immediately remembered and gave my tokutoku to guard the Stonehenge while I was doing ceremony. And on this stone, you're going to see different faces, of course, but you're also going to notice different petroglyphs and signs. A lot of our ancestrals here, the ancestors in Borinquen, also known as the Tainos or Tairuna preferably, used a lot of the heart symbols. Is part of the ancestral petroglyphs. I said that was the child of first light holding a toku, period. And you can actually see a face on that stone, and that same face that was on that stone was on the katona of my partner when he does his ceremonies. It was the identical one, so again, it was all in alignment. I also found it was a stone of mother. I remember the mother of all changes, and we can continue to play that. And we were able to dress her up. We did the honi, which we do after all. Right here, I used that ancestor to. Can you put pause real quick for me? We use that ancestor to merge the waters, the southern and the northern waters. Um, it's the ancestor that brings in the hurricanes and the waters to move them. And upon completing this actual ceremony, family, we were exited with a group of horses. It was, now we can press play. It was absolutely magical as we were leaving Stonehenge Vieques. We entered and they were not there. We're leaving and they're walking us out. It was such a divine moment for us. We knew then, if ever we had a shadow of a doubt, that we know exactly what it is that we're doing and that we're being supported, strongly supported by our guides, by the councils, by our ancestors, by the sacred ones, by each other, by everyone, by all life in the highest and benevolent way. And most certainly by Mauta Kumara Taki.
That's beautiful.
Yeah.
That's beautiful.
And then we finished the ceremony with the sacred tree of life, where I gifted my obsidian. So I have to get a new obsidian necklace. I gave it with so much honor and joy and love. And I also gave the rest of my Kotohara, which Maopaku, remember when you were here and I was looking for my Kotohara? It's because I gave it all to the sacred tree of life. I saw it, the recording. I'm like, oh, that's where it went. So I have to order some more at the Love Pollinator. But I want to give Mahopaku the opportunity because Mahopaku is going to be actually coming in on the next round deeper. He was in on this from the before the me doing this field work, but he actually came and we finished off another piece, which will be shared towards the next segment. After they finish the Stonehenge segment. But Mahopaku, you being in the background, you being part of this journey, you being part of this the recon work and the confirmations, could you share with us your overall experience on this, on everything that that was shared today, and what you were witnessing and leading up to the moment? Which, if there's anything that you have to say on this, I know you're going to be more active in the next ones, but still. We can't hear you. Unless it's me. Can you guys hear him, or is it me?
I can't hear either.
Yep,
Okay.
he's on mute.
Okay, there you go.
Is your volume up?
Nope. Is your volume up? Yep, his volume is up. Okay, so for
Did
some
you
reason he's
check
having
the
technical
settings?
difficulties. Come back to planet Earth. Come
check,
back to planet Earth.
check the settings on your mic in StreamYard.
Mute and unmute. Maybe come in and come out. If not, while you figure that part out, we'll go on to Huna Tarakuya. With Huna Tarakuya, I first spoke to her. I first brought this dark tunnel mission to her back in January, mid-January, and it was first presented to me immediately, without a shadow of a doubt. I already knew and heard that I had to contact Huna Tarakuya, because she's the weaver of pillars of light, and it was like, okay, I knew that we needed to have the pillars of light built. And so,
Can you all hear me?
yes.
We'll put a pause on me. Go ahead, Mahapaku.
Um,
Okay.
so it's two words: intense and magical. So it's always an initiation, as for what I've experienced on my own personal journey. Before you actually get into these spaces, you got to be initiated from your higher self, and so there's the work there with your spirit team and higher selves and guides and ancestors, and so that was the work there, and then it was like the pressure, and I always describe that pressure as like giving birth, and giving birth to what, the crystal or the crystal. It was like it was that pressure of giving birth and that intense, that readiness, because diamonds are formed from pressure, and then it was also very magical, as she would describe certain places that she had to do, like Vieques or dark portals and stuff. Those beings would start to reach out to me in my consciousness, and so I was beginning to have dreams about where they were, and other parts of even future work, just from the continuum of where we have to go and where they are, and they are inviting us, to come here, to ask and to be returned by the child of light into the to the source light.
You're muted, Maurarika.
Oh, thank you. I said that's right, and well said, brother. That was because we were all, and often you'll see it still. There's this thing where people, where many are still stuck in the war programming, and it was a conditioning. It was a conditioning and a programming that doesn't serve, and that we're not going to really speak to. So the whole thing was Star Wa, dropping the R and going to first love. Wa, the principle of first love. And it was important for us to utilize the medicines of love in this entire mission, to utilize the compassion, the caring, the understanding, the patience with with each other, throughout this entire journey, even. And most importantly, to acknowledge that there's not a war. There's no war. There's no war between anything. It's, now I invite everyone to, we invite everyone to build new earth, to focus on building new earth. This is a wonderful time. The energetics have shifted to our favor. we're given and provided all the tools to build new earth. And the more work that we are doing and undoing, the more work that we are doing and undoing, we're anchoring more potentialities. Okay, but most certainly we are restoring back the light of days, guaranteed, as we all promised that we would. And it's been a beautiful journey, family. I mean, I look forward to sharing the deeper emotional parts of what went into this entire mission. The journey of even becoming a dragon master, despite Mauta going back into the formless. I mean, this was big for us to gather again in this way, because it's what he left us. We are the legacy that he left, so to speak. To continue to do this work and to carry on with what he was showing us that he was doing, that he was modeling, leaving us an idea, a blueprint, still reminding us that as dragon masters, right, we all have our own final touches and our own knowing, and have to honor that, our own journey, and the process. So it's been beautiful. And with that, I want to go on to finishing with Huna Taraquia, grandmother, who I knew had to be the one to build the pillars of light. And so I basically went to her and said, this is what I found, and it's really big. And then it was like, okay, I found another one, and it's in a triangle area over here. So and giving her what I gave her, and that's it. She had to then journey on, which was nothing, which was just exactly that. I need the pillars of light built in these dark tunnels that I'm undoing. And so that's all I had to give her. I didn't know what else to tell her, you know? And it wasn't for me to give her anything else other than that, because with that, she had to go into her own journey of that within her own essence. And that's pretty much what the theme was for all of us, is that we all had to step into our Huna essence and be in our essence, period, and be that light in action and show up in the physical. So with that, I'll pass the torch to you, Grandmother
Oh,
Kuya.
well, yeah, and when that was spoken of, that was like in January. So, often I come in at the very end of things, right? Because I'm plate. So pillars of light, if you don't, I mean, anyone can build, we all are pillars of light, just FYI. But what it's helpful is when you're doing land work, you can create this container and it basically sets the intention for purity. You can program pillars. You can put codes into the pillars. And I did. So the weaving of this, what I really like to impress upon people is this: a year ago, Mahopaku and Maurarika and several of us did the Nets of Maui, Michigan mission, which was all about water weaving. Okay, every target painted was a weaving of water. Well, weaving of the codes, because the Hunas were not with me particularly. We were spread all out, but I did a voice, I had various people speak the login into a voice recorder, and then I would record it in the pillar of light so that it would set, right? So that it would be there. So what's interesting is, in speaking about it, I did not know. I was been taking a bunch of notes because I don't know any of this mission. I didn't know anything of it until yesterday, because yesterday we're like, oh, we're reporting on this mission. And I was like, what? I'm like, wait a minute. Okay, is it time now? Because I was told not to set the pillars yet. So yesterday was the day. So now when one of the targets that was painted it was a year ago this week. And one of them in Michigan, in Lake Michigan, is a Stonehenge. It's under the waters. And so now we have triangulated Stonehenges. We've got one in the UK. We have one there that you just spoke about, and then of course the one in Michigan. There's been lots of this going on, right? So yesterday, what's also very strange is I had needed to do this in a very different way as well. So I can just, these pillars are just of light. They connect the etheric crystalline grid to the deep ley lines. It's actually the dragon lines, into the core of Mother Earth. I was told not to anchor these pillars and to use sound weaving. And I've not done that really before. So I had brought in a wind chime. I had done some other song. I actually needed to sit and channel, which, by the way, I will just tell you, gifts are coming. I know for all of us, it's really exciting when things come in. And so channeling is one of the things that have now started to come in for me, but particularly about invocations. And I just want to read to you what my invocation was, because as I set these pillars in these 3 different places, there are 3. I also asked if there are 3 guardians there now, and the 3 guardians is in Laguna Cartagena. That's a pearl scaled dragon in that area. In the Bocaran forest, there are caverns of biocrystalline formations that are now growing in those caverns, and it connects, I was told, to the ley lines to the Antilles. So there is it's called an emerald mallory. It's Malorix. I had no idea what this is, but it's basically a dolphin serpent. That's what that is. And then in the 3rd area was a sapphire crab. And so now there are these guardians that are there. And what it did, I placed these pillars, and then it formed a rotation, and it basically started to create its own pillar. That's how that worked. But I will tell you, I want you to feel the codes of the essence that I stated when I did that. So I spoke this out loud. I said, Laguna Cartagena, pearl flame, rise and flow, crystal memory now bestow. With dragon breath, the codes ignite, the pillar stands in sacred light. The Bocan forest, emerald sound, awaken deep, through forest root and dolphin leap. Joyful spiral, pure and bright, this pillar hums in sonic light. La Puerga, sapphire guard, from sea to star, cleanse all shadow near and far. Bioluminescent tides take flight, and this pillar shields with truth and light. And as I set this intention, and with this invocation, basically, I had no idea, of course, that there's bioluminescent anything. Puerto is like, excuse me, those were the things that showed themselves, right? So a lot of these confirmations came in yesterday, and I wanted just to let you know what this mission, what this accomplished, because this is what came into me to share. And one of it was it was an activation of what was called the Tri-Light Temple, and this is it's a temple that is connecting the Atlantean big temple grid. See, and it actually triangulated a bigger. So you can see in the lower right hand corner, the Puerto Rico. That's what was, but it's a larger arc actually that is now triangulating. One's in Cuba there, and then in the oh my gosh, it's at the tip of my tongue. Bermuda. So this is a greater thing. There's like these floating 5 discs that are actually now activating, and it's activating in the Keys and in the lower part there of Florida. What it did, this is the three things that I said that happened here, this mission. It was a reactivation of the Lemurian water codes in the Great Lakes region, because what I'm doing here, right, is linking. It's the northern and the southern here, so it's linking the waters. It's linking all the codes. So the net connected the sacred nodes in Michigan to the ancient Pacific. Okay, that was one thing it was doing. It allows for crystalline harmonics to infuse the land, especially now what's happening in Florida and in the Keys. There was an establishment of a holographic bridge between the east and the west grids. The casting created this, it's like a multi-nodal arc, and it creates this lattice that will redirect the distorted inversion currents from the false nets that were in the Midwest grids to the southeast U.S. So the bridge is firm and it's in place. Also, it returned the sacred masculine alignment. So through Hunas Maurika and Hopaku, the embodiment of right action and sovereign direction was placed in motion. It was soft but firm, humble but unwavering, is what I was told. The masculine codes of the House of Huna were anchored into the collective field through your triad and others also walking in the alignment. I was telling Marorika that I've done this before. I wanted to see if I could connect in with Mauta's Oversoul to provide a message of what has happened on this mission and to the House of Huna. And so I got a message yesterday, and I wanted to express this and to share this. He says, well, first, this is the message to the House of Huna. He says, tomorrow when you speak not only as Kimberly, Hunatara Kuya, but as Na Keriki Akamoana, which is the child of the ocean who remembers. So that is a confirmation, because Moana was spoken about today, and I had no idea. So that was interesting. He says to speak to the ocean within their bones, speak to the codes still hidden in the shoreline of their voice. Remind them that the net of Maui was not just cast, it was accepted. And all who hold the thread now share in the vision. Tell them the tides are rising, not to wash us away, but to reveal what cannot be drowned. He says, I stand beside you, sister of my soul. You have walked this path with grace and fire. The house you enter tomorrow remembers you. Speak as one who has woven the net and knows its strength. The stars are watching and the ocean sings your name. Aloha nui loa, I malana pono, which means we are not done. We are only beginning again. And that was his message.
That's amazing.
Buku and buka.
My honor. And this is funny because this is this picture of this dragon. Now, a lot of these confirmations we've talked about how they can come to us, right? In the clouds, those around us. And I always get confirmations after the fact, but this was very unusual because I got confirmations before this even started. So This dragon with the tear happened 2 days before I built the pillars. And on the day that I built the pillars, I didn't even realize and put this together until we were speaking, but I saw 444 earlier that morning, which is kind of a code that I know when a mission has been accepted. So it was 444. And then I also got, and I had gotten just several messages that was, and I saw a double rainbow that morning, that evening. Because, he lives in Detroit too. So we had a bunch of weather that was on, Friday.
Because he's been doing work.
Yeah,
He's
we saw the double rainbow. And so again, these are the things that I would normally see for confirmation afterwards, but it was a heads up for me, as in like this is coming. It's like almost like that was the
yeah.
future, right? And now we do the action. So
Wow, beautiful sharing. And it was a lot of confirmation. And as you mentioned, sister, we didn't speak at all about this. Neither
mhm.
did I speak to Kasahi about this. We didn't speak about anything to anyone. We were all being light in action individually, and all, and because we were all being led by the alignment and the confirmations of with our knowing, being the quantum navigators, we were able to show up when we needed to show up and do what we needed to show up, even if it feels like it's nothing. It's like, no, sometimes it's just our essence being there guarantees what it is that we are doing. So this was a learning experience for us all. It was like an initiation for us all because of the level of confirmations in between. As you shared with us about the bioluminescence bay, you didn't know that I spoke
No idea.
intentions to the bioluminescence bay because part of the recon work that we did for La Palguera in that dark tunnel mission in La Palguera and the Laguna Cartagena, those were bioluminescence bays that were destroyed by these beings because of the technology that they were using. And so it wasn't of the it was destroying because of the amount of radiation that emits from their technology, because it's artificial. It's not the regular starlight ship, right? That we don't need any metallic.
The cat.
My cat hit the mute button. That'll hit the mute button. But I so that was part of the mission. Was the intention too was to we spoke the that the bioluminescence bay would revive itself and would return the ones that were destroyed. And what I didn't share was that there was another water weaving ceremony that was done. That's where I did my empowerment ceremony. A lot of this you can see in my channel, guys. But during that mission, I mean, there was a specific moment after missions and whatnot where I was just integrating and having my moment with the waters. It was nighttime. It was actually midnight, and I was at the northern part of the island. At the northern part of the island where I was at, there is no bioluminescence bay. I was in Kamui at this beach called Pinyong Busi, and there's no bioluminescence there whatsoever at all. The ones that were there was down in the southern, which were destroyed, that we spoke intentions to, and then Vieques that you have to take a boat to. The other one was far east in the island. So up north, I'm having my moment with the waves, and a big wave. I was up at the shore on the sand. A big wave came and reached me, and it was a bioluminescence light that washed up to me, right to my hand. And I was so excited because I knew how magical it was. It was such a rare moment that my partner was with me, who's also a shaman. And it's like, I've never seen that here ever. Not here. There's no way that that could possibly be. There's no way that that could possibly be. And he was just like, wow. Like, he's looking at it in my hand. He's looking at the bioluminescence algae right on my hand. I had
That's
picked it
crazy.
up with the sand. It came to me. The waves brought it to me. And so this
It's like
entire
Moana. Moana. It's like I see the sea. It's like woo.
exactly right to me. Exactly. And when I share, and the funny thing, it's not the first time. When we do the Tears of the Dragon 2 sharing, when I did the mission of the ceremony of the continuum in February, asking Mauta, what do we do? Asking the blue wave, what do we do? You're gone, and there's this thing at the sea. And it washed up the key of the three-headed dragon. and that's going to be shared in the future sharing. But it was like just like that, except for it was a bioluminescence.
That's so cool. I want to say, it's for those that are listening, I just, there's nothing special in the sense of each one of us. I know it feels, I remember when I was first sealed, that was a little over 2.5 years ago. I had no idea. I had no idea what my sacred action would even be. I didn't even know. I just knew that. So I wanted to say that the first steps, when you feel really excited to do the idea of if you want to work with the land, is that you just kind of open your intention up and you state it, and then see, it's like breadcrumbs, and your guides will lead you to areas and places of interest that are interesting to you because you carry your own codes. And I remember when I very first walked, it was the pulling of the nails in Mont Saint, with Huna Flash. And he was like, you. I told him I was going to be going to Ireland after it, and I had no idea what I was doing. I had nothing of that. But he just I know that just by walking around on the land, and if all you need to do is open your heart and give love, source, love, light, right? And speaking to the intentions, to speaking from your heart, whatever you desire, those intentions are heard and the undoing begins. It just takes steps. You're a physical vessel on this planet, and sometimes it requires going through the physical vessel for it to anchor into the earth. That's why it's important. You can have all the intentions in the etheric. You can speak to it in dream state, and many of us do. I don't remember any of my dreams. But if you don't anchor it through someone, it doesn't stick, right? You know what I mean? Like it has to, we're in physicality, so it needs bodies for that to go through, and you have your own unique flavor. So I would just say, you just go wherever you're called to, and just begin by being there and speaking your intention and sending love, and you will begin the process, and it will show your guides the next steps that you're to take. So I just wanted to let people be reminded of that.
Thank you for that.
That's
Thank you for that
beautiful.
sharing. Yeah. And it's beautiful to know that, like Tarakuya said, that this is within all of us, have this potentiality to really be more than what you're seeing, or really going deep and expansion alone is part of the evolution and the ascension process. So never doubt the wonders within yourself that is so stored, that is yet that you haven't dug to yet, but still let it be an encouragement to remain part of being the child of light. Is that adventure, that curiosity to explore, to want to find something out, right?
And
But
I was going to say, Marorica, that even people have no idea, but next time we got a mission, right? And we're in the WhatsApp chat, and you have a desire for Hunas, right, or whatever, that have a desire to do it, you just get in contact, and your light, your essence will be part of that container, right?
yes,
And then you find yourself along in the magical ride.
literally.
That's how that works. So
Literally.
you just get on the dragon's back, right?
Get on the ride.
Get
That's
on the
it.
ride.
Get on the dragon ride, the roller coaster. But with that, I want to end it off, at least the reporting part, to say that where we completed the mission, which was at Vieques, the island off. Part of the intention was to merge the southern and the northern waters, right? And I want to just say that, what does Vieque means? Because I found this out during the last day that I was staying there, when I went to Stonehenge Vieques, and I asked, what is the meaning of Vieques, right? And the meaning that was given to me by the elder was that Vieque, being the land of where the seat of the chief of the water tribe or clan, whom according to the native oracles governs the waters of life. And so the waters of life, you know, sorry guys, my cat is messing with me. But the entire time we're here, this is the mission, right? Is to unite the waters. And this is what Vieque means. So it's like, okay, we can see how it was put here to do this, to do that, you know, to cause all of this. But why we had to go back there to merge. So there's so much that is going on also in the formless with this, in between spaces, if you will, for sure. And a lot of confirmations. And I don't know if we're going to open the floor. I know sometimes we open the floor for questions. I don't know if we're going to do that. Um, I don't know how everyone feels or what the schedule looks like, but I'll wait to hear. Do you, Tamakade, should we open up the floor? Do we open
He
up the
says we
floor?
can if we want to.
Yeah, we can if you want to, and we do have the second set of promos. So if we can do it as an outro if you guys want. We're really
Okay,
in a good flow. It's up to you guys.
Yeah.
okay. Yeah, so why don't we do that? Why don't we open up the floor? And if there's any questions for anyone who is watching the show that would like to come up and ask us any questions of the work that we were doing, or curious of the hows, or just any questions whatsoever, or any sharing that you would like to contribute to the show, you're more than welcome to come along and participate for sure. And again, while we're waiting to see if anyone will come on, I want to say that we're very grateful for everyone's involvement on this, because it was a collective mission. I mean, there's people that were weaving into this mission that we never even met. Just collectively, they're on one side of the world, just knew what to do when they had to do it. You know, didn't even know what they were doing. So it was very encouraging and powerful in the sense of the unity that came with it, of all different medicines from all around. um, it was such a beautiful thing, you know. And Mahopaku and I were able to complete another part of this that we will be sharing after the other Hunas complete their other parts to this. And so if anybody else here has anything else that they would like to include or input, doesn't look like we're going to have anyone come on with any questions.
Feels very settling. It's been a little bit of a hiatus, and of course the energies, you know, doing a lot of that, and it will only continue. There's a lot of changes coming, particularly in the next 6 months. And there's lots of opportunities to be in action in some way. So looking forward for the Hunas to be sharing what it is. I already have gotten several confirmations. You spoke about part of that land that had some bombings.
Mm-hmm.
I just had well, the Gregorian Lions Gate. I'm supposed to be doing some work in China, in an area that is like where nuclear
Hmm.
testing was done in that area, and I'm supposed to be preparing for that. So it's like, as we share this way, we get confirmations. You get inspired to think yourself, even your own little neck of the woods. I live 5 minutes from, water. So
Mm-hmm.
I find myself being a little bit more intentional with the water. Be intentional with the water when you're showering. If
Mm-hmm.
that's the elemental that speaks to you, daily in a shower, I'm connecting it with the consciousness of the water. And I don't know if anyone's having an issue. Well, not to say an issue, but it's a little bit more of a challenge now. Grounding. Our systems are upgrading. Our nervous systems are upgrading. The things that I used to be able to ground on the earth. I mean, it's helpful, but the water now for me, because I'm a water being. I mean, primarily I work with a lot of water. Now that is what is grounding me now. And if the energy is too much, I have to take a shower. It could be 2 o'clock in the morning, right? To settle
Mm-hmm.
that energy.
Yeah,
I can also,
definitely.
you go, can you hear me?
Yep.
Yes, sir.
I can speak to the changes in grounding. It's funny that you brought up the grounding and the nervous system. I was thinking about it in my head. I'm like, the nervous system upgrades that's going on right now. And so right
Yep.
now, a lot with the work, of course, it's what she said. Whatever works best for you. You may be more aligned to a certain element, but it might be the opposite of that element. For some people, it might be going or stopping. It's just following the flow of whatever the intuition is speaking to. For me personally, it's been more with the land, so I've been more um what's the word? What's the name of the people? The Earth Tribe. I've been more with the Earth Tribe and the different tree elemental and the forest elementals as of recent, working with the chiefs, and that grounds me more. That grounds me, and I find myself having to leave my house, which is oddly enough shaped like a box. And so, for the tourist field, it kind of like squeezes it in. And so find myself having to leave outside of the house, literally step outside to charge and to expand my field, and that grounds me. And so it's different for everybody. But yes, it's exactly what she spoke to.
Looks like we do have some people wanting to come on, and I will have to kindly ask Kahasahi to step out of light for now because we are limited with the free stream yard. I want to get our guests on the screen. Otherwise, I'll have to just boot you.
What happened to
Actually,
Moesha?
I don't know that I can boot you. I can't see the button. There we go. Ooh, I think it worked. Here we go. It's the Koha Huna. Welcome. Okay, I'm gonna disappear again.
Hi, family.
Hello.
Yay!
Oh, I knew we.
Well, Wanui. Can you
Wawa.
guys hear me well?
Yes.
Yay! Finally, my voice works. Guys, first of all, thanks so much for this sharing today. It was such a spectacular mission. It blows my mind to see what was going on. Yeah, I'm on the other part of the world, and I could completely feel, without even knowing that the mission was going on, that you guys were like messing up like big time.
Wow.
And I was being, called into the water at the same time. Maorika was like, doing, I think the last piece. Also, big welcome to Nonikai. Welcome to the group. It's so nice that you joined
Gratitude.
us.
I love being here. Gratitude so much.
It's such a power to have you. You guys, I just wanted to ask you one question. Maybe someone else needs that type of an advice as well. Anytime I'm doing some work, I kind of still get a lot of need to kind of like protect my energy, and there's a lot of things going on later on. It's like I keep going with like the codes, but I was wondering if you could maybe. You guys are just so experienced, and I was wondering, like, maybe if you could share, like, how do you deal with that? Like, if you do you have any guidance in terms of how to protect yourself, like physically, even? Like, that's, I think, what I'm experiencing the most, but not only physically. Like, sometimes I just get a lot of crap after I do work. What's your best advice, guys?
So what I would speak to is that and I know what you're referring to, right? It starts to feel like you in the middle of a fire, or it's like missiles coming at you from multiple directions. I know.
Yep.
After I left Puerto Rico, Maurika can attest to this. I called her 12 in the morning, 1 in the morning.
Mhm.
I was stopped by TSA, and they stopped me for a spray bottle that was full with citronella. Now citronella is a natural mosquito repellent, and so I
Mhm.
had a spray bottle full of it. And of course, I'm like, okay, you can have the spray bottle. But of course, it was a test to see if I would move off my center. And so
Mhm.
they not only got the spray bottle, but they also grabbed my crystals. And this is where I knew it was. This was a test. Okay, so grab my spiritual tools, and so I had to, tell you I'm a shaman, and this is why I use for ceremony, and this, and the third. And I kept my cool, and I kept my center. And so, one of the messages that I was told just by my people not too long ago, just by my spirit guides and a few other of my guidances, on that side was hold your square. And I've been hearing that message all week. I was wondering why I was hearing it, but it was for this moment. Hold your square. Hold your square is speaking of holding that center, that core, and grounding your roots as deep as the deepest, as the tallest tree in the forest. There was about a 200-year-old tree in PR that I visited. She's a grandmother tree, and she holds the memory, the water, in her roots. And upon touch, you can connect to that water. And so, holding that, not being shaken by any storms or anything, we may get tested, and that's only to affirm and to confirm to you, from your higher self, that you are showing yourself approved and showing up, and that you are who you say you are. And so, holding that square, and of course, before and after doing the work, it's always setting a container, calling in your protections, your guides, ancestors, and all of the benevolent light that works with you to protect you. Any prayers and invocations that you may say beforehand, you say that as well, and that's just to keep from any manipulative game, because they know how to manipulate the environment around you, or different things around you to get to you. And so, of course, hold the square and set the intention, and remember that at times you will be tested, but pressure makes diamonds.
Thank you for that, brother. That's all
Wow.
wonderful, wonderful stuff that he shared, and very true. Another thing that, especially when working with dark energy, I know when I'm going into a dark tunnel mission, because whenever I'm going to do work with energy, dark energy, immediately one thing that happens to me is my dragon energy, my dragon body activates. So whenever my body begins to feel like it's going into flames and I feel like I'm a walking fire flame, I already know that that means I'm going into a dark tunnel. That's I'm going into some dark work, and it's already the protection is already built within your system. If you're meant to do that type of work, you're going to be supported already within the coding system to do so. But there's also other things that I was taught by my guides to do. And one of those things is to not move unless it's within the alignment. So that already eliminates the manipulation of what this could be or that could be. As long as you stay within the alignment of the now of where you're supposed to go, not based on your understanding or your own understanding, but to really truly feel, because like for me, I feel even a magnetic pull. It's so intense that I can look at a rock and it's like it's pulling me to it. Okay, I gotta go there. You'll get the confirmations show up, the universal synchronicities show up. Those are confirmations that you're in alignment. Typically, when you're in alignment, from my experience, just being in alignment all in itself has kept me safe, and protected. But because I knew I was going into a dark tunnel mission, I called Grandfather Aquisque, you know, Huna Maharua, and I said, Grandfather, I'm gonna need I'm gonna go do a dark mission, and I could sure use some of that Thunderbird medicine, and help for ask him to open up a container. The codes, all in itself, are undistorted. They provide a levels of protection, but always, whenever I do any mission, whether it's a dark tunnel mission or a non-dark tunnel mission, always I take the moment to integrate from that ceremony and cleanse. I usually perform a lagoon on myself, like a Waikara lagoon, or just if you're around the beach, just going into the ocean too for a cleanse. Incorporating some ancestral or personal medicines or rituals of cleansing, right? Empowerment. And so that was something that I learned was very important for me during these ceremonies, is that upon finishing, to always finish with an empowerment ceremony for myself, to support
Mm-hmm.
me on the highest level, and to clear off
Mm-hmm.
any remnants, if you will, because it's
Mm-hmm.
not like there's a war and they want to punish me because I did this work, and they're trying to make my life hard and throw daggers at me because I'm doing light work. No, we're not even speaking to that, because it's the distortion of the this and that. It's energy. If you think about it, energy is energy.
Yeah.
And so that
Yeah.
particular energy carries a frequency, right? And that frequency is in at its highest. And your
Mm.
electromagnetic frequency. So, like a magnet, that frequency can kind of sometimes attach itself to
Latch
you.
on to you. Mm-hmm.
You know what I mean? It's not so much like, oh, you did this, now I'm gonna get you. And no, it's just sometimes we put ourselves in these situations, like, you go in a tunnel, you're gonna come out with some a smudge of
Mm-hmm.
dirt here, a smudge of dirt
Mm-hmm.
there, maybe,
Mm-hmm.
that you need to clean
Mm-hmm.
off. That's how I look at it.
Mm-hmm.
But it is
Mm-hmm.
important to have a protocol in place, in my opinion, that's going to stabilize your personal biofield.
Mm-hmm.
You know,
Mm-hmm.
Kahasa, he had a nice reminder. She says, protection here from what, right? You are Huna, one in the many, many in the one. And when you know and you stand in this firmness of who you are your protection. You are it. And you can be in confidence, knowing that you are held in the infinite. That is for sure. You are
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
doing work. You command that. There is no question.
Mm-hmm.
There is no question.
From the
So,
logical perspective, I feel like that's the way it should be, right? But it's just like in reality, it's like
well,
always.
the mind likes to do that, though. The mind likes to
Mm,
play lots of things about
mm,
and work its own,
mm-hmm.
it wants to remind you of something that is a distortion.
Right.
So get that in its proper perspective, and then
Mm,
I know what this
walk in
is.
full comment. Yeah.
Yeah.
mm-hmm.
And even speak to it. Even speaking to it, like, I know what this is. This is just a hidden fear of mine because of what I'm
Mm,
used to. And we've all been used to this. This is everything that we're doing right now, right? We are also having to undo within ourselves. This mission is, all the missions, all the ceremonies is also a representation of ourselves internally. And
yeah.
I've always felt like that, but Kahasa, he actually confirmed it within a conversation that we were having, with her sharing. And it's true. It was like, she was talking about the tunnels being, the darkness being like within us. That's what we're facing, is really us, so to
Yeah.
speak. I think they just quoted her. And exactly, the dark tunnels within us, exactly that. And it's true. So how do we, which brings us to the next thing, how do we truly bring change to this world, to this planet? Is by doing the work within ourselves internally, even during our ceremonies, even within our mission work. We literally are doing the work internally, even through the
Yeah.
mission work. So there's nothing that's external from ourselves. So
That is
then
the gift.
that
That
is
is
the
the gift,
gift.
isn't it? It's
Yeah.
you don't seek the gift, but that is the gift comes nonetheless.
Yeah.
Mm, mm,
And just
yeah.
as and just as she said, I love that you said it like that, because it just connected something for me. It makes sense, because the more that we face ourselves internally, do you not access something new about yourself? Do you not
Every single
Always.
time.
experience,
Yeah.
Always.
exactly,
Hmm.
you
Yeah.
experience something new within this being of me, opens
Mm,
up every time that I address something. And the
yeah.
same thing can be observed during the ceremonies and our mission work. Every time that we did something and we undid something in that location, only then were we ready to receive what we had to do next.
Mm-hmm.
You know, you
Yep.
speak, this is
Yep.
like these mission works, right? It's like this macro thing. But, you know, I also want to bring that we have the micro within us, but, you know, sometimes your mission work, when you understand who you are, it's in your day to day walking, is it
Yeah.
not?
It is.
Yes.
I know for myself, and you can look in your life. I'm not, you know, I know people, I'm not sure what you could know in your life what it is that people have either commented on that you, I know that I have always been a balancer. So I stabilize. Now I know this about myself. So now, because I know who I am on a soul level, I can walk in those spaces and I stabilize. And there's a big call for that. So if that speaks to you, sometimes you're placed within those spaces to do just that.
Yep.
And
Yeah.
it's all well and good, right? So just, and some people have a very large heart, right? Their heart and their compassion. And so it speaks in the daily. Can you forgive? Can you forgive in the moment for the person who is just a jerk to you?
Yeah.
Right?
And who is being a jerk in the current,
Right?
Can you
Isn't that where it counts?
yeah.
That
Yes.
counts in that moment. Can you let it go?
Right.
Yes.
Stabilize yourself in the moment and send a big blast of love energy to them.
Yeah. And to
Right?
and to yourself for sure.
And to
Exactly.
yourself,
I feel
for
like
sure.
that is the protection. When you take a deep breath, because I literally just went through this throughout these ceremonies the past month or two,
That's
where I
right.
had to stabilize and address the fact that these are all really just fears that are coming within in and out. Some like there is slight distortion that happens when we're doubting, or remaining in fear, but also by breaking those and observing yourself in the moment, you can see this is your growth. You are just sitting at the precipice of a big release. So instead of, holding it tight like it's something that you own or have to hold on, you let it go, you submit, give it back to the universe, and you observe that this is just another test. Like Mahopaka was saying, you were going to be tested to that threshold, so that what Mawarika just said, you're going to get to that next level. And that in that moment when someone is actually being that reflection of what it is within, you can take a deep breath and say, I know what this is, right? Mawarika says, I know what this is. This is actually me in fear of what's not what I of the unknown, or something that's not yet seen. And it's showing me now that I can let go of it, take the deep breath, and recognize that all of this is me, even the one who's reflecting back to me what it is that I'm most fearful of, because the potentiality is infinite. And that's why we can get to observe all these wonderful things as we weave together all of these these timelines that we're kind of going through with these, like, decision making, right? So my just observing all of you speaking is like all of this is so spot on, and it helps me to see through you again what I've just gone through and still continue to do every single day. Every single day I must show up and say, I recognize this, because we already know that we're in the spiral, so we can see
Yeah.
ourselves, future and present, all in one space. So it's like, am I going to come back to this point and do the same thing again? Or am I going to observe where I can expand in this moment and be something that the presence or the energy that I want to express? Or am I going to just hold on to something that doesn't belong to me? Like, I
Right.
really don't want
I
it.
want to I want to say Huna's name there. Huna kata maku tuwakoha.
There you go. Yes.
My goodness.
I love it.
I still call her sister. Hey, sister.
Well, we thank you so
Thank
much.
you, sister.
Thank you so much. And I hope that's helpful.
Thank you.
I know we have another Huna that wants to jump on. And so love
Thank you,
to
sister,
you.
for coming on.
Much love to you guys. So much. Thank you so much. This was extremely helpful, and I guess just get used to the testing, eh?
Thank you
Yes.
for logging in. Thank
The
you for logging
refire,
in.
yes.
Oh,
She was
thank
one
you
of
for
the ones
Wait,
who
rising.
logged in.
are you the red
Sure.
gloves?
Yes, this is the red
Yeah.
gloves Huna.
Yes,
This is the
I
red
love your
gloves
red
Huna.
gloves. I loved
Red
it.
gloves Huna. Yes, kicked ass that day.
Love you guys so much. Take care.
Wawa.
Wawa.
Walanate.
Thank you.
Walanate.
Wawa.
We have another Huna who's coming on up. Let's see who the big surprise is. Drum roll. Grandfather!
Machwawa.
What a surprise grandfather.
uh, well, thank you, granddaughter, Big Nyamway Ho. And what I'd like to share is what some of the confirmations that happened here. Um, this was June 21st. Now, this is the sun.
Hmm.
Wow.
This is
Right.
this is the evening. Now let's go here and let's open this up.
Wow. That was a big crystalline
So
sun.
below the crystalline sun, here is a sacred being in white circle, part of a white
Wow.
circle.
Oh, I can see it.
Oh
I
wow.
could see it.
Yeah.
Woo.
This is the evening of the 21st after the equinox ceremony,
Wow. What a good
and
confirmation.
also the ceremony. So the equinox ceremony is for both the sun and the earth, for
Mm.
that change
Mhm.
from the awakening and growth season to the growth and maturity season. And so this
Gratitude.
one showed up. And then on the 22nd, the morning of the 22nd, everything happened.
Everything happened.
Oh, actually, let's see, just a second. This also was the evening of the 22nd. This is the sun.
The rays are coming right through it
That's so
too.
bright. Yeah.
Almost look like a Maita,
And
like the
then
gun.
below the sun, this is a sacred being that showed up on the building above the ladder.
Oh my gosh.
Wow.
Whoa.
Wow.
See the eyes, the nose, and the big
Yes.
mouth?
Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah.
Can't miss that
It's how
blue
it
beam.
almost look like something out of a cartoon almost.
Yeah.
Or almost like an eel.
Yeah.
You know
Eel
what's so
Queen.
interesting? I thought about the water that when you got
Yeah.
your
The water
illumination.
dragon.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah,
So this
the
was the
emerald
20.
dragon.
Yeah, and so this was those two were the 21st, and the 22nd, everything happened. This is the morning of the 22nd. This is the sun.
Yeah.
Oh,
Look
that's
how
the
bright that
rainbow
is, y'all.
crystalline with the white diamond mother rays.
It's like not even coming through. That's so bright.
Yeah.
It's a
Wow.
sacred being.
Just,
It's all white.
it just takes
Oh,
a people.
Saw the crystalline at the bottom,
Yeah.
the rainbow.
Yeah.
And
crystalline light.
Oh, there we go.
and
Wow.
if you look on the earth, there's a sacred being showing himself in the
In the
rays of
bottom.
the sun.
Right underneath it. At the bottom.
It looks
Yes,
like
and
eagles.
the rays of the sun is in front of the sacred being on the earth.
Wow.
Hmm.
Amazing. 22 was when the crop circle came, when we drew through the magic
And
roundabout. Wow.
There you go.
and if you see, this sacred being is sitting in a circle,
Yeah. Oh my
and
goodness.
the rays inside, and the rays of the sun are covering the outside of the circle
Yeah, I
and
see
all
that.
around.
Mm,
Can you see that?
Yeah.
yes. Wow.
And this is a very sacred being. Well, there's so much. I'm just going to show a couple other ones.
There was one that was on the
This,
Thursday, I think.
this, this is a
Oh yeah.
sacred being here. Here,
Wow.
this is a sacred being
Yeah.
that the ancients put here in ancient times, and this is a light that showed up on the sacred being.
Oh my goodness.
Mm. I can see a lot of different faces there.
Yeah.
And the sun's rays, this is the sun's rays in this picture.
The 6 pointed star or 8 pointed. There's eight.
It's
And
so
it just blew up
bright.
when I said it. Notice
It's
that?
big and like a heart.
Yeah, and the rays are going right down to this sacred being, and the spirit being of light is showing himself.
Yes. Grand
And then
grandfather.
yes,
Oh no, I'll let you say that before I finish.
and this is a white being. I don't know if you can see him or not on a different one, a white being on the sacred being
Wow.
that they put here.
Wow, the guardians are showing themselves in all forms.
And then I think one of these Kahasuhi said to me, "That's the 444." Um,
Oh, it's 444 right now.
Yeah,
and
yeah.
that's
Ah,
and
it's
that's
four
the
four four right now. Eastern time.
and so you see this one. Eh?
Yeah,
Can you see it clearly?
yeah. I can see white mostly. Oh yeah, that's the sun. I can see it now.
There it is.
It yeah. Wow. The light is so bright,
There's so
So
huh?
much.
bright. That's intense. That's crazy.
There's so
Yeah.
much happened. So much happened. I didn't get a chance to take quite a few
Everything.
pictures. I just said, "Let me experience it, and then I can take pictures."
Yeah. No,
Afterward.
really. And I want to just say
And
that
all of
thank you,
this was the
grandfather.
22nd.
On the 22nd with the crop circles that
Yeah,
Casa he
all
has.
of those pictures were the 22nd. Yes.
Wow. And there was so much more that was done in between. Grandfather,
Right. Exactly.
as I mentioned earlier on the show, I called grandfather. Grandfather actually has been able to witness all of this from the beginning of when I first started it. Grandfather actually played a big role in helping me stand firm on who I am and remain deeply rooted enough to prepare myself for this mission. And also in the transitioning of Mauta, of the transitioning of, having him leaving and all of this happening. It was like everything was in divine alignment, and I honor you like no other, grandfather. big Naweho for everything, for all of your guidance, for your medicines of protection, of guidance, of everything. You have been a pillar not only for me, but for all of us. And especially with when Mauta left, still having the masculine, you know, energy within our group, but the fatherly one, the light of father, and which you used to accompany me during this mission. And I'm so grateful for all that you do for me and for everyone. And wakwas.
Mm, gratitude.
And I say Nyamweho, and we say Nyamweho, and Nyamweho for the good work that you're doing. Um, keep on moving forward. Keep on moving forward. Keep on moving forward.
How has?
And I say we because there's many of us from the very beginning of the first light, which is always the first light.
That's right. Now
Just
way.
like the beginning is always the beginning.
Mm,
What a big blessing to have grandfather come in and close out. Grandfather, you're always closing.
Yes, good timing.
You're always closing out.
Not way hope.
Well,
Yeah.
Nyamweho to all of you and all who are participating in all of this.
gratitude.
Much
Thank you.
while and not pay. Much while and not pay.
Much
Well,
love out.
Mm,
well, we give gratitude for the House of Huna, also first and foremost for allowing us to come and giving us this platform, still for allowing us to come and share our good mahi, and also for still maintaining the House of Huna, because they could have easily been dropped. But you guys, Kasahi, Tamake, everyone else who is involved in the operation of it still, um, thank you. Thank
yes,
you
thank you.
for all of your patience and for all of your hard work. You guys have, still done this out of the goodness of your heart, and that means a lot for all of us. So thank you.
Gratitude.
Thank you to all the
Wawa.
people and to
Gratitude.
everybody logging in.
Holding.
Please like the video and share with others, and stay tuned for the next segments for sure, because it only gets juicier.
Yes.
Wawa.
Gratitude. Gratitude.
Wawa.
Bye bye.